so exciting. I mean, basically what we did is we grouped a bunch of designers. We're all friends with each other, and we're all based in Brooklyn. But what we found is that since a lot of these designers are either small companies, small independents, or they have such niche lines, it's very difficult to coordinate a show.
Really, just looking at women when I'm walking around, I mean, they're some of the most amazing creatures on earth, and it makes me happy to be able to decorate them and help them decide how they're going to wake up and costume themselves when they wake up in the morning. It's a jacket with fringe sleeves and shorts. It's a suit, but it's a shorts suit with like a short sleeve jacket. It's very flapper-esque sort of, but done in a different way. Like as far as like antiquated style and modern style coming together, where I come from, everything is broken down and crumbling and, falling apart. So it's just I'm just used to it. It's everyday life for me, and I try to take bits of old and turn them into new.
You're gonna see 5 looks. I have 2 mangled tie outfits, which you can see here, entitled Death Wish 1 and Death Wish 2. The look is like sort of free-falling, plane crash aesthetic, a much softer, like almost feminine type kind of look. He's wearing a sweater with a twisted collar line and a pair of pants with a zipper that slashes diagonally across the crotch all the way down to the leg. 2 suits that I'm showing, Constellation, and it features like constellations all over. It's very blue with a little bit of pink, red stripes and stars, and all planes coming down through the stars. That's called Star-Crossed. It's looking at like stuff that's going on in pop culture and comparing it to ideas that come out of the history of fashion, of deconstruction and decay, and sort of juxtaposing the two.
We're going to see some t-shirts with a little fabric collage and a kind of Baroque style, Baroque reconstructed style. Some of my inspirations, I guess, are nature, vines, trees, also the Baroque and Rococo periods where it was just extreme ornamentation just for its own sake, and I just love that because you don't see that anymore. I guess just a sort of very beautiful ornamental thing that's broken apart, and I kind of think of that when I make my stuff.
Poison Cat is basically like sort of like catastrophe-driven thing that the only way that gets over it is through the sake of beauty. It's very aleatory, it's very random, it's very like disconnected, it's very sort of collagey, it's very like couture of contradiction, and all the pieces that I have made are part of my wardrobe.
It's over.
It's really nauseous. It's like I don't know, but the only way to like sort of like get over it is through the sake of beauty, and that's what I'm trying to do with my clothes. It's sort of an inspiration. I'm from Sweden originally, so it's an inspiration of like that longing, I think, color-wise, and then shape-wise, it's very drapey. It's pretty sexy, but not too sexy. Kind of lighter colors, a little bit mixed with patterns in black, and it feels like a mix of my background and living in New York, where like the mix of New York is. Everything is basically handmade, so it's all this looking back at how fashion and beauty used to be something that was more handcrafted and more important in a different way, and now it's very much like just a consumerist product, about selling rather than quality and interesting new concepts and ideas.
The Yoko Devereaux collection is inspired by the character Yoko Devereaux, and what we try to do is like really see through the eyes of Yoko how she would see the world. I mean, she's a little bit eccentric. She like again kind of straddles the downtown creativity and the uptown old school guard of fashion.
Our collection is a menswear line, and it's sort of inspired by a new form of opera and sort of what kind of person would go to it and what they would wear. We sort of wanted some influences from the past, maybe from the turn of the century, but keeping it very modern and streetwear so people like me would wear.
It's not so specific to her life, but it really is encapsulating what the brand is, and that is like this whole concept of formalism of fashion meets like a really creative, modern sensibility. So.
I think probably the best pieces are the hoodies. We did one in leather, and we sort of like this too because it's, you know, taking a basic shape, a basic garment that you wouldn't really find in leather and changing it, and that's sort of like one of the things that we really like to do. This is actually a t-shirt with two colors screened on it, and then we have a little clasp here, a little leather, almost like a suspender. But so it will act as a clasp, and it will cinch the t-shirt back, so it's almost like wearing a vest. And we have like leather suspenders that are just one strap that go over one shoulder or around the neck. So it's just sort of like, instead of making a normal suspender that does the same way in an elastic, we wanted to use a different material that gave it like an edgier, rougher feel. To the Bitter End is sort of like a nice collaboration with all these designers that are doing very, very similar things. In our collection, there's a lot of raw details, top stitching that's a little messed up, not necessarily trying to make it pretty or beautiful or like finished or perfect. We wanted something that's edgy and sort of raw to go with this whole theme of, you know, a new kind of opera. Which we sort of feel this space is perfect that we're doing it in, because that's sort of our inspiration, was a sort of abandoned building that the sort of like underground scene would take place.